What's going on YouTube? The Last Musketeer here, coming at you with part 3 of the Eternal Evolution free-to-play Is It Worth It series. Now I'm jumping right into this one because I didn't want to put too much filler at the first of the video. It's going to be a very long video, and despite how much I try to edit down, it seems like every video I put out tends to be a bit longer. Maybe it's a minute, 2 minutes. I'm trying to work on cutting that down a bit. And while it's playing in the background, just showing you some of the progress that I'm making towards some of the stages, I will say that these stage missions they have that give really good rewards have been an actual fantastic way of keeping me going as far as figuring out what I should work on daily. It kind of gives me an idea of what a decent growth system is, so I do appreciate that they have this in here. Now for the boss fight I'm showing you, this is in Rise of Heroes, a certain part of the event, and this is the normal boss, so the easiest one you can fight, and I've gotten to the point starting at day 8 where I can get pretty close to beating it in 1 or 2 goes, but I'll show you through the rest of the video where my progression gets as far as what I'm able to take out, and especially in regards to that boss. So coming into day 9, I do want to say that this day is probably going to be the longest of the video because I had a lot of content that I wanted to put into it, and so editing it down was kind of hard to figure out exactly what I wanted to do. Wasteland in particular is probably going to be in most of the days because every time that you beat it, it does get harder, so it kind of gives you an idea of when you're starting to hit a wall as far as how far you need to progress, or maybe it's going to be a little bit slower progressing because you're going to have to get a lot more level up resources in order to go to the next part. Now I normally don't show Rift Fissure progress because it's kind of cool in a way that it's got these puzzles built in and I don't want to spoil anything, or it's got some little extra story that people might want to see themselves, but I did want to say that 100% do these. Along with any of the perimeter stuff that you can actually do, they're always fantastic for rewards. This one in particular, I started off fighting a gold enemy and I lost one of my heroes early, nearly lost 2 of them. So I want to point out that if you do these, try, if at all costs, to not fight the gold one first, because they are the hardest ones you will have to fight. I believe that one actually probably locked me into fighting it at first, so you might have to, but if at all possible, make sure that you fight the blues into the purples into the golds. That way you can kind of guarantee your success in the fight. Last video I tried to give a brief explanation of evolution and I didn't do a good job. I knew I didn't do a good job, but I wanted to kind of show some footage a little bit, and I'm not using quick evolve because, well, I'm an idiot. So please use the quick evolve button. It is going to save you so much time. I don't know how many times that I'll use it one time and then I'll go into to evolve everything the next time and I just start manually clicking them again. It's actually frustrating watching it back. The intelligent evolution part of it, however, I don't know how accurate that is. I think I've used it once or twice just to check it out, and I think it does actually go for the one that I wanted to in the first place. But it's better off just doing it manually. I'd say go in and guarantee that you get the hero that you're wanting to rank up as food next. I wanted to leave some clips in of Rise of Heroes because I think this is actually a fantastic event. I've got probably 20 or 30 of the limited recruitment cards just from this event alone. The raffle shop also gives you other rewards, while maybe the rest of them aren't as great. There are extra boss fight tokens in there as well, which is fantastic. The Sinway shards, I haven't personally used them. I've got, I think, 3 dupes of them. At some point I will probably level them up, but I've got other champions in his class that I've been working up as well, so it limits me to what I can actually do. Now, I wanted to leave some clips of the bosses in because these are very important for progression. Each boss has different mechanics that you will probably need to read through and figure out. It's going to take some time to figure out what kind of heroes that you want to put for it. You can look up a guide. I'm sure there's plenty of guides out there that will show you what you want. The spider one gives you commanders. This one gives you gear, which I think is probably the most important one you'll have to deal with, and the other one, which I'll show you after this, is actually ironically the one that is the hardest one for me because it is melee based, and I realized that as I was going through, I do have some melee heroes, but a lot of the heroes that I leveled up have been range. The third boss puts in, as you can see, this blue ring, and anything that attacks outside of that blue ring does minimal damage. So essentially you just want to have a full team of 5 melee heroes if possible. Now you can have a ranged healer in there as well, so if you want to do the 4 melee lineup with a healer, that's perfectly fine as well. Healer's probably not going to do any damage anyway, but he's going to be giving you upgrade materials for your artifacts and also giving you artifacts. So here I used another limited summon of 10. I'm trying to do as many as I can on the Azina actual pull because I want to try to get her as high as possible during the event. I did pull them all in this next opening, which is fantastic. I know he probably isn't the best damage dealer, but I'm really enjoying using him, and he's done well for me so far. So being the one that I end up pulling the most, I'm just going to level him up as much as I can currently, and then kind of have him able to switch out whenever I need him. One thing that I really need to say heading into day 10 is, because I am limited to that hour, I think I haven't got enough campaign levels to actually give myself a sufficient farm. So basically you want to make sure that even if you're not having a chance to play or progress, you can go and put the auto-complete checkbox in, and what that does is it unlocks at 5-4, I believe. You'll click the button, it'll count down for 3 seconds, and then it'll auto-complete the next part of the campaign story. And it'll keep doing this until you actually fail or hit a milestone. I think hitting the milestone and it stopping is kind of annoying, or if it pops up an ad after a certain amount of aggression is also annoying. But you want to keep this going as much as possible, because the further you build rewards, the more resources you get to level up your heroes. I can guarantee that if you put the time in, just let it sit there and idle for you every little bit a day, it's going to help tremendously. If you can get yourself to the point early on especially that you're just constantly hitting that next wall in campaign, it's going to help you maximize your progress so much. Now this is a puzzle from the rift fissures that I was talking about earlier. The reason I wanted to show it is because I think it's a good breakaway from the normal just click fight mentality that this game kind of gives. I wanted to have, anytime I play some game like this, some way to break away from that mentality so I can feel like I'm actually interacting a little more and having to put in a little more thought other than just coming up with some simple strategy. I'm doing a couple summons, and I do apologize if there's a little bit of a white around it. It's because it's for some reason out of full screen. I'm so used to being able to press escape during the game to pull me out of the menu, and this one just takes me straight out of full screen. Very annoying. I do apologize. Here I'm just adding some different heroes to my wish list, and you can do this in advanced summon to kind of get a better chance of pulling the specific heroes that you want. So you're going to want to make sure that whatever team that you pick, or maybe you're trying to get a new hero that might be stronger or better suited for your team, you want to throw him into the wish list so you get an extra chance during the advanced summons. Here I'm just taking Artist to the next evolution. He's been very critical for my team because he does offer a defense down, so it helps me to maximize the output of damage from every other hero that I have. Anytime you have a defense down champ, it's absolutely fantastic for a team. Coming into day 11, as I said before, I love Rise of Heroes, so I'm going to keep showing you some of the rewards I get from it, especially from the raffle, because the raffle is where most of the stuff comes from. The achievement tab is very good. If you can end up unlocking the hard boss, the hell boss, even if you can't beat them, that's perfectly fine. The achievement tab does have some extra rewards like limited recruitment cards. You get 3 for unlocking hard mode and hell mode, so absolutely crucial if you're trying to get as many summons as you can on the limited summon banner. Now I do want to say, I showed you some more basic summons. I was talking to a guy in the comment section who is a little further along than me, and he said it's probably best after 2 weeks to no longer summon on the basic summons, and I agree completely. I think by 2 weeks, you're more than likely not going to need it near as much because the content that you are clearing is going to give you a ton of rares, and basic has chances of giving you rares. Yeah, you're going to get a lot of them, but you're going to get a lot of commons as well. So essentially just try to save your gems for buying certain rewards, like shop rewards or something like that. And as you can see here, I pulled another Azina from the 10 times summon. I'm also going to take this gene hybrid that resets, I think it's once a week. It may be shorter than that. I'm not quite sure. This is the first one I'd end up actually being able to buy. But I duped her, put in another hero, and then use the gene hybrid as the clone copy because it works for any SSS hero that you want to have a duplicate of. And I also want to note that when you're doing these limited summons, please by all means don't just spend on every single banner. You'll see me doing some of that because, well, while I'm doing it, it's part of the series. I only have a certain amount of time to spend all these, so I might as well go for stuff and then try out new heroes. You, as a free-to-play, are going to want to save all these and try to get a specific banner that you want to pull on. If you want to look up a guide to see what hero may be the best to go for your account, by all means do that and try to save up as many as you can so that you can pull a bunch on that particular thing. You want to use the actual cards that you get after summoning to buy the gene hybrids, and if you stack up enough of those and you get enough duplicates, over time you're going to have a really strong SSS hero. So it completely changes my outlook as far as what I'm able to accomplish. I did want to throw this in. I didn't show the boss fight, but the Ancient Altar is very good for getting rewards. Like, the gear that you get from this is insane. The limited recruitment cards I got from there is insane. And you're going to see me go back and do another 10 pull. I pull another Azina. I'm getting extremely lucky. Do not expect the same results. Like I said, the drop rates aren't great. They're not horrible, but they're not great. As you see from here, from this evolution, I unlocked her Holy Butterfly Cannon, and that's going to add a good amount of damage to her, and the more I can upgrade it, as you'll see later on, it adds essentially some upgrades to her other skills. I'm just going to make her as strong as I possibly can, because looking at her kit, I think she's a fantastic hero, and she's been actually so crucial towards the actual progression of my boss fights as well. Now the command post, I'm not quite sure what's going on as far as the level up. I guess they have a cap of 20. I thought it would be kind of like the other gear where you get it to max level and then you can enhance it with a copy, but evidently it doesn't work like that. I don't think they even have different stats. I'm not actually sure. Maybe they do. I should probably look more into it, but having these commanders, they have upgrades for certain heroes, and they'll kind of highlight that, so be sure to look out for that. Alright, so here we are at day 13. This is some more Wasteland footage. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of it. I do apologize, but the rewards are good, the progression is nice, and this is the last pull I'll be able to do on the Quantum Mimic Machine event. And as you can see, I did pull the rarest thing, and if you look at the actual odds, it's like a 0.2% chance, and I got it on the very first pull, which was nuts. I wanted the copy of Azina, but of course the luck has to end somewhere, so I'm perfectly fine with what I got. You see here, I did 1210, and then I went to 1220 of the campaign. I'd like to push further, and over time I will, but we're going into these summons, and I have to speak on these for a moment, because what I pulled next out of the advanced summon was actually really surprising for me. I actually ended up pulling a triple S hero. I did not realize you could do that from advanced summoning. Absolutely awesome. I do appreciate that they have that in there. I didn't think they did, because when I was looking at it beforehand, I hadn't seen anything talking about it. I've also pulled Maul from it, and I used his copy to take him to the next rarity. As far as I've seen so far, I was looking at one of the top ranked guys in there, and he had all of that evolution rarity, so potentially that's the highest in the game so far. Of course, I only just got to it, and there's 5 tally marks, so it's going to be a long progress to get to the next one. And somehow, I guess I started one day into the week, so day 14 or the last day in each week of the series ends up going into the next event, which is kind of weird, but it's kind of also a good thing in a way, because it shows kind of a preview of what I'm going to be working on through the next week, or the next progress video. Now here is a fight from Rise of Heroes that I didn't think I was going to be able to beat at the end of the week, but I managed, with the upgrades I got to Azina especially, to be able to push this. This was, I think, 80k power rated over what my actual teams were, so I was actually really surprised that I was able to handle it so easily. It just really comes down to what gear you have and what team composition you have. If you have really strong heroes that are capable of pushing that content, then power doesn't matter as much. So don't be afraid when you see something that may be 100k power over you. There's still a possibility that you can beat it. So this is one of the actual new events, and looking at it, it's got some good rewards. I'm not sure what the drop rate is. Obviously, if I could hit the 15 limited summons, I would be more than happy with that. Probably over actually pulling that other triple S. I know it sounds weird, but since I'm pulling on Leo, I want to pull Leo more so than the other guy. He does have a defense down, and I think he could be a good hero overall, but Leo would be a really good tank that I actually absolutely need for my account, and so I can actually work him up along with Azina. And you see me here leveling her up again, giving her more stats. As I said, I'm trying to pump as much as I can into that hero. So we're doing another 10 limited summon, and this one's actually fantastic because currently they have a double exchange chips. So instead of getting the usual 10 from doing a 10 pull of the limited card, you now get 20. So I can use that to purchase another gene hybrid, level up Azina again. We're working as efficiently as possible. This is kind of how you're going to be doing it as a free-to-play. You pick your triple S hero that you want. You just go all in. That's all you have to it. That's the only chance you have of getting them as high as possible. You're gonna have to work on one at a time. If you work on two at a time, you're probably gonna fall behind as far as damage, because they're gonna be a lot lower rarity than ones that you have more readily available. Now I wanted to leave this in here because I wanted to show you just how useful she's been for me so far. You will see an absolute disgusting amount of damage come out of her. Look at this nuke. The bar drops tremendously, and they were all crits. The gear I have on her is god-awful at the moment. Once I get her to actual crit gear where she has a high rate and heavy damage, she's going to absolutely nuke everything for me. And I'll show the stats up here. She's actually more than double the amount of damage that Carmal has. That is insane, because he has 2 rarities above her. That just goes to show, as long as I can keep leveling her up and get better gear from her, I don't know what the skill ceiling is for it. She's going to push me so much further, and as you can see, I take her to the next rarity because absolutely warranted. I will use everything I can to get her up. And you see, I used 5 of the boss chances, so once you beat it, you can actually run it with as many of the batteries as you want to use. So I used 5, got a good amount of gear, ended up switching them out. Now guys, we're in the end of the video. I wanted to go over a little bit of the Christmas event. I hadn't got to actually pull anything on it yet. There is a new hero out. It replaced the actual thing in the event tab for Leo. I don't know if he's still available to pull or not, but either way, if I don't get him, maybe I can get that guy, try him out, kind of show people. And I just want to shout out to Jaded Free to Play there, being number 4 on the Wish leaderboard. Free to play player that high, I don't know that it'll stay, but you know, he's doing his thing. He's putting in work. And as you can see, at the 700 mark, you get a skin So it looks like we're getting skins in the game. I don't know whether they're going to have stat bonuses. They may. It's going to be kind of sad if they do, but if they're earnable for free to play, then I'll be alright with that. Like I said, I'm not sure what any of this does. I just wanted to give a quick overview so that you can see what the event is before I go into the next week, and I'll get a chance to work on it. Hopefully end up getting some good rewards, maybe get somewhere in this event that I can actually pull some decent stuff. So good luck with all of these. Hopefully you get some really good rewards going on, and with that nasty cold weather pattern moving in through the US, I don't know how bad it's going to affect me, if I'm going to lose power or not at all. Hopefully not. Hopefully, you know, it's a quick pass over. I can do my things as scheduled and not have to miss certain days and make them up later. But I'm going to give you a quick overview of what my current gear is and show you Azina is my strongest hero right now, rightfully so. Still got abysmal gear on her. The 21% crit rate and 9% crit damage is terrible. I need to get that up, but we'll get that gear as time goes on. But if I do lose power during this next few days, I just want to say the growth on the channel has been absolutely insane lately. I can't thank you guys enough. It means so much to me, and I'm enjoying this so much, especially the interaction. I'm loving talking to y'all in the comments and getting y'all's takes on everything in these games and kind of sharing my opinion of what I've got. So I just want to say, stay safe. Hopefully you don't get affected by the weather too much. Have a Merry Christmas, a Happy Holidays. This has been The Last Musketeer, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.